Okay, and we're back and we're going to do another video. As you can see, I first start off by saying Happy Easter to everybody, and I'm a little bit at home today. I'm trying to be comfortable. Got on my house coat. It's my Washington Redskins house coat. Don't worry, I do have clothes on underneath, so that's not a big issue there. We have them on underneath. We just wanted to be comfortable today. So I'm going to do a Mega Man 5 review and give you some of the ideas on how to go through this game and some different things, just in case anybody wants to ever go through it and beat it. This game, you can go through actually and beat all of the Robot Masters with your arm cannon, and some of the Wily bosses you could beat with your arm cannon as well. It's not the game's not particularly 100% hard. Some of the stages, some of the parts in some of the stages can be a little bit difficult. Some of them in the there's two castles in this one. Some of the stages in the two castles can be a little bit hard as well. It just depends upon how you can maneuver through things and like that. To start off with, two things on this game: the Rush Marine is no longer available, and that really sucks because in one stage it would really be a necessity. I'll tell you a little bit about that stage a little bit later. It really should, it could really make that area a lot easier. Also, it's the first appearance of Beat the Bird. Beat appears in some of the other games, and he is a little blue bird that accompanies Mega Man. Most of the time, if Mega Man jumps down a hole, he'll pull him back out of it, so that you wouldn't have that death where you fell down the hole, where you jumped down the hole. On this game and on some of the other ones, though, Beat helps you by flying out and attacking enemies. He has a little beat whistle, so before but when you hit the button, you hear it go weep, and then he comes down and he goes after the enemy, and of course we'll talk about him as we go on through there. This is one of those where you have to get, there's a spell out on the item screen of Mega Man 5. You have to find all 8 of the letters. They have the M, E, G, A, M, A, N, and the V. And that's how you get beat, is you have to find there's one letter per stage. You have to find a letter in each stage. There's only one that's really well hidden. We'll kind of go over where that one is, but most of them are just out in the open. You just have to figure out how to get them. My first time playing through the game, I was only able to get a few of them, and then I had to go back to the stages and get the other ones, because there's one where you're dropping down through there, and it's on the left hand side, and you'll miss it. I still miss it to this day. There's another one in another stage where you're jumping on these things that you're riding, and again, it's very easy to miss. So if you find that you need to get back there to the stages, you can beat the stages, and then you can use the you can just go to the end of the level and just start the stage up again. Or if you have a game that has the save state ability, the best thing to do would be go as far as you can, use that save state, and just keep reloading until you get that. It's not essential to have Beat to beat the game. You can beat it without him, but it makes it a whole lot easier on at least 2 of the bosses toward the end of the game. So it's very easy to have it. I'm going to use the run through with Beat, because that's what I did on the video. I went through with Beat and getting Beat, so that's what I ended up. That's what I'm going to go over here. So we'll go through the leaders. There's Gravity Man. That would be the first 1 or 2 that you could go through would be Gravity Man or Starman. Jim, when he goes through it, he finds Starman a little bit easier to beat at the beginning than Gravity Man. And like I said, by no means is there a wrong way to do this. Um, if you're watching this, or if you're watching me doing the video, you could start with Napalm Man if you wanted to, or even Stone Man, or somewhere in the middle of what I do. You could start in the middle of what I do and then just use the videos to go further on. I'm just giving you a roundabout way of what it is, and and how it is. Like I said, Jim usually would take Starman first. I take Gravity Man first. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Gravity Man I kill with the arm cannon. Not too much to say about his stage. They've got up and down arrows. When you jump, the arrows dictate if you're going to be on the ceiling or if you're going to be on the floor. The letter M is in there, and it's very easy to spot. It's pretty easy to get. All you have to do is just jump and go towards, and it'll shoot you up toward the ceiling. You'll get the letter M while you're crossing across through there. Not a very difficult stage. Gravity Man himself, you're just gonna, I think you start the fight on the ceiling. You're just gonna run and just trade shots with him. And you're just gonna run from side to side in the room. As you're going, the gravity's gonna have you down the floor, up in the air. What you need to do is you need to shoot him while you're close enough to shoot each other. You're going to try to shoot him that way. When you're crossing and you're either going up to the ceiling or coming down to the ground, he's doing the other. He's doing the other one. So that's the times that you need to shoot him. He only shoots when he's doing that, so it's pretty easy. It's not hard to get away from him. So he's not very difficult. You get the gravity hold, which is a really weird, it's an odd item. When using it in normal stages and against normal enemies, it clears some of the enemies off the stage and just carries them up toward the top of the screen and off of the top of the screen. It's a very weird thing to use. I don't use it. About the only time I use it is against the next boss that I'm going to go over. And that's the only time I use it, because he's weak against it. And I'm not really sure why, but he's weak against it. So, now the next stage that we go to is Gyro Man stage. This one's kind of an air stage. And there's a letter A in here. And the letter A on this one is, you'll be going across a green bridge toward the end of the level. And as you're going across this green bridge, pieces of it start falling. Chunks of it start falling down. The A is underneath one of those chunks. You may have to die the first time when you're getting it. If you can get it and jump back up, then that's okay. I got a bunch of 1-ups during the run I was making, so I could afford to lose a life and then just go back through it. And you gotta watch out, because there's these other things that are dropping from the sky, from the top of the area, and they'll stop you in your progress. But you can't stop it. You gotta keep moving on this thing, or like jump, so that you have a floor to walk across. Again, like I said, besides that section, the stage is not too awful bad. You'll go face Gyro Man. Now, there's a lot of clouds in his room. It's at the top of it, so you won't be able to see him for some of the time. Most of the time, he takes off as soon as the fight starts. He takes off up into the cloud. He shoots these little things that usually come down and go across. They do a little pattern. Usually they either go across in a direction, or they go one direction and across, whichever way they go. But they're not too hard to figure out where they're at. As long as you know where he's at, you're not going to have a problem. Now, the easiest thing to do is to go in here and to use the gyro hold. You will run out of gyro hold the same time he runs out of life. But what you have to do is you have to use it, wait a second or two, use it again, wait a second or two, use it again. But just make sure that every time that you're using it, you're hitting him. That way, it's not much of a fight. You get the gyro attack. The gyro attack can go different directions based upon how you move the control pad. Um, for the sake of just making it easier, I'm just gonna, when I refer to the gyro attack, we're just gonna use it straight out, and we're not gonna do any of that fancy stuff with it because I find no way to, or no reason to use it the fancy way. So we're not gonna do it that way. But you can play around with it and see. You can see what I'm talking about whenever you want to, and see what you want to. Before we get any further in this, I just want to also say some of the Robot Masters you'll see me switch to. I think there's one fight where I killed him with the arm cannon, and I switched to the weapon at the end after I kill him. That's because that's the weapon that I was supposed to use, but I killed him with the arm cannon instead. Like I said, I can get each of them with the arm cannon. I do not need their weapons on this one. I'm lucky enough to be able to do that. And then there's one where I use the last move of it because I'll get to that here toward the end. It's on Wave Man, and I'll get to that. Okay, so we're gonna say you're gonna get up to Crystal Man. You're gonna use the gyro attack on him. He jumps, he shoots. Sometimes he shoots out these 4 crystal orbs that go all around the room. Just dodge him best you can and just use it. He does have a little bit of a pattern, but you'll have to kind of figure out how the pattern goes because I've played through on the NES version and I've played through the Xbox version, which is the Legacy Collection. And it seems he does one-on-one. He starts one way on one way on the other. One thing I want to talk about on his stage, well, 2 things I want to list on this stage. Number 1, you'll see these skeletons that shoot out. They form a crystal and they shoot it out. These can only be killed by a Mega Buster shot, a charged up shot. When they toss the crystal, that you'll have some time to let one fly on them. There's 2 other sections where there are crystals that drop out of these things on the ceiling. They drop out of these tubes. There's no pattern. These people can tell you there's patterns until the cows come home. There's no pattern. There's no pattern to these things. I've sat there and I've watched them for like 5 minutes straight. There's no pattern. What you're going to do is you're going to watch until they quit dropping just long enough and make a jump. Don't try to stand there and wait for a pattern because there's no pattern there. There's no pattern. It is all random. It is all random. They may drop 2. They may drop 4. You'll see when you get there, or if you want to watch the video first, and you'll understand what I mean. But there's no pattern. Trust me when I tell you there is no pattern. I've played through this game about 4 or 5 times. There's no pattern to this. It's never been the same. You just have to wait and take your time and make your jumps. This is the one where the V is in the stage. And it's hard to get because you're dropping down an area with spikes and it's on the far left hand side. If you know where it is, you can get it real easily. If not, you'll have to go back and get it because you're falling down through there with spikes and you're trying to avoid the spikes. But that's where it is. It's on the far left. I'm going to go Napalm. You get the Crystal Eye from Crystal Man, which is a big ball. If it hits a wall, it breaks into 3 smaller balls and bounces around the room. Next boss takes damage whether it hits him straight up or whether it bounces around the room. It doesn't really matter. The next boss is Napalm Man. Stage is not too bad. You'll run into some white tigers. A Mega Buster will take those white tigers out so that they are not a problem. Another thing is, I'm not real sure which stage they come out with first, but there's a stage where there are these, they're called Sniper Joes, and they're in helicopters. You have to do a charge up shot and then a couple more shots to take them down. They're really, and you can't just let them go because they'll follow you throughout a stage and they will just sit there and shoot at you and come down and try to hit you with their vehicles and stuff. And that's like the tiger; it'll follow you until it comes off the screen. I mean, it's stuff that you really need to take out beforehand. They either show up, everything either shows up in Napalm Man stage or Stone Man stage, which is the next one. So warning about that. They show up in one of those two stages, and I don't really remember which one. Napalm Man stage has the N in it. And I think it's just on the thing across there. I think it's during the stage. You just you'll see it going through there. Not too hard to get. The stage itself is not bad as long as you take care of the tigers and stuff when you're in there. Now, when you get to Napalm Man, he can either shoot at you or he can let these two what look like capsules come out of his hands and they'll drop down. The shots themselves are not very hard to dodge. The capsules are not very hard to dodge either. They kind of bounce along the ground. He's not very hard to dodge. So, and also if you can get him, in a loop, he'll just use just the ones that roll on the ground, and it makes it overly easy to kill him because you just have to hit him with the crystal eye when you can. So he's not too awful bad. You get the napalm bomb, which is basically just the ones that he was throwing. They look like pills, is what they look like. But he throws that, and that's what you'll use on the next stage. Now on Stone Man, you'll go Stone Man next. Stone Man stage, there's a G hidden in there, and it's in a wall at the end of an area before you go up some ladders. It's in a wall. So you'll just have to shoot at the walls when you see them. And one of those walls will break away. And you'll have to slide through and get that and then come back out. So, but that's where it's, that's the only one that's hidden. The other ones you can pretty much find just anywhere just looking around. They're not that hard to find. Stone Man stage is not overly difficult. Stone Man himself is not overly difficult. He usually just kind of jumps around the room, tries to land on you. Something to note, you'll use the napalm bomb on him. Something to note is that you can't use the napalm bomb on him when he is on the ground in a rubble. He'll end up, when he crashes to the ground, he's in rubble. You can't use the napalm bomb at that point. You can use it and it sounds like it registers a hit. It takes no life from him. So you have to wait until he's like almost fully reformed or coming down and hit him there with those. I would be a little bit close. Don't get so close that he hits you, but I would be a little bit close to him when you use the napalm bomb, because otherwise it's just going to go hopping across the room and you have to wait until it blows up. And the same thing with the crystal eye. If it breaks, you have to wait until all of them bounce around the room and either A, hit something, or B, until they just go around the room so much they disappear. So keep those two things in mind, that those are two weapons that do that, and that can cause some serious issues while you're trying to do things like that. And you beat Stone Man, you get the Power Stone. It's like a shield that goes out and around, and it just keeps circling around until it disappears off the screen. Again, it's like some of the other ones. You can't use another shot of it until it's all off the screen. But it makes a small circle into a bigger circle, into a bigger circle, and bigger circle off the screen. So next we're going to go against Charge Man. I call Charge Man Choo Choo Man. He looks like a train. One thing to note about Charge Man is it's incredibly hard to jump over him when you're fighting him. So kind of take that into effect. He's a little bit difficult to jump over. So take that into consideration when you fight him. During the stage, and most of the stages on a train, it's a pretty easy stage. There's not really too many hazards. You're either on top of the train or in the train. When you're in the train, you'll see the letter A in there, and you'll have to use the rush coil to get it. There's really hardly, I don't think, any other way to get it. So you'll have to use that. You're going to fight Charge Man. He'll either try to run you over, or he'll turn and he'll shoot out these things from the smokestack on his back that go up in the air and they come down. There's usually 3 of them. They come down. They're pretty easy to avoid. The only really thing that you have to really watch out for is when he charges. I mean, when he charges, like I said, he's a little bit difficult to jump over, so that's a little bit rough. You have to use the Power Stone on him, and the Power Stone, you have to be near him for it to register. Otherwise, you just have to hope that one of the bricks, whenever they're going out there, one of the stones hits him. But that's what you got to hit him with. That's what he's weak against. So just try to stay away from him. If he comes at you, try to jump over him. He doesn't jump at all. So don't worry about sliding. Just worry about trying to get over top of him. But like I said, the Power Stone is what you have to use against him. And like I said, even if you're close to him and the first hit hits him, you have to wait until the rest of it wears off. Or you can hit the start button and go back to the weapon screen and select it again and just use it again. So one way or the other, you're still, there. Like I said, it's not impossible to jump over him. It's just the timing and getting it done. You get the charge kick. The charge kick is a very weird thing to use, and I think I've only used it on one enemy, and that's it. It's very different to use. It's kind of like the top spin from number 3. It's one of those, and you'll see whenever I talk about the next boss that we're going to, you'll see why that is. Next stage is Wave Man. This stage can be hard if you make it hard. If you don't make it hard, it's not that hard. Wave Man stage, you go through most of it. There's a part where you have to jump on bubbles. Lucky for you guys, you've got a walkthrough showing you how to do it. I didn't have that luxury growing up. I had to figure it out on my own, and I figured it out. But it's basically you jump on one of the big bubbles that comes out of the second little thing there. And then whenever you go up a screen, you'll jump over, I think it's 1 or 2 bubbles, and you'll get on a bigger bubble again. And then when you go up to the next screen, you'll jump over on the first bubble that comes up and then jump on over. You'll have to watch out when you make that jump, though, because there's the ceiling has spikes on it, so you'll have to watch out for those. Toward the end of the stage, you get in a little boat thing that you can shoot out of. It's broken down into 2 sections. There's enemies that come along. There's fish that jump, and then there's other guys that are on boats that shoot. You'll get to a mid-boss midway through, and he'll come out of the water, and he'll go back in the water and come out of the water. He shoots stuff at you. You have to shoot him in this green gem that he's got up in his forehead. That's the only place you can hit him. So you're going to have to shoot that quite a few times to kill him. After him, as you're going through there a little ways, and there's the letter E is in there. It's hard to get the first 1 or 2 times. If you get it, consider yourself very lucky, because there's a lot of stuff going on the screen at that time. There's a lot of enemies coming, and you can really easily miss your chance to jump up and get it, because it's up in the air, and you have to jump to get it. But there's a lot of crap on the screen at that one point, and it is really kind of tough to get, because there's really no visual clues or anything like that come along. So, just try to do best to get that. If you can't, you'll have to go back to the stage. You'll fight Wave Man. He usually shoots a hook, and then he brings up a spout of water somewhere. He's not real dangerous. You just can't shoot him when the water spout's in front of him. The weapon to use against him is the charge kick. You have to hold down you have to press down on the control pad and A to use the charge kick. I think it's down and A. It's either down and A or down and B. But you have to have it selected and then you have to use it. You can kick through the water and kick him as well and go through him. You have to be close enough. If you're close enough to him to do that, you can kick him, you can slide right through. He won't hit you, the water won't hit you. Neither of them will hit you. Neither of them will count as a hit. You'll slide right through. If you're further away and you hit him and you do the charge kick and you slide, he's probably going to catch you on the back end of it. He's not very hard. Using the charge kick is a little odd, but it can be done. Like I said, I just hit him with the charge kick at the end just to show you what the charge kick does. So, you can use it, or you can use your arm cannon, whichever one you want to use. You get the water wave from him. The water wave goes across the ground. It's just a little bit of water that goes across the ground. So the last stage is Starman stage. You got to watch when you're jumping in Starman stage. You got to watch when you're jumping because there's no gravity on the stage and you can jump really high, but they're not going to make it easy on you where you have to jump really high because there's spikes in the ceiling and parts, and that's why they allow you to jump really high, is because they want to see if you've got enough skill to tap the A button in portions and see how much juice you want to push into the A button, so to see if you smack your head into the spike ceiling or if you can actually jump through there and get through there with no problems whatsoever. The letter M is one so much case. It's right near the ceiling, and it takes a pretty good, almost perfect jump to actually make it without slamming your head into the spikes on the ceiling. So, that M's there. Yeah. This stage is not bad. There's portions of it that can be because of the jumping, but overall it's not too bad. Starman. Starman's one of these other ones that you could take on right off the bat. He creates a shield around himself. He jumps twice, and then he releases the shield. The shield is a big shield. It's not hard to dodge. You can either slide underneath it if it's somewhere, or you can jump over top of it. It's not hard to dodge. When he's doing that, while he's jumping and things, you should be holding down the B button for your charge shot if you're using the arm cannon. And I would suggest using the arm cannon here, not the water wave, the arm cannon. The water wave you can use the water wave, but it has to be on the ground. He doesn't stay on the ground the whole time, and he doesn't stay on the ground even half of the time. So the water wave is not really a good weapon to use here. Your arm cannon can do just as well, and you can hit him from anywhere. Like I said, not really hard to defeat. That's all he does. That's all he does. You'll get the Star Crash from him, which is the same thing he was using. It's just not as big. And you'll get the Super Arrow. I only use the Super Arrow against one boss, but it is very effective against that boss. Super Arrow is more of an item than it is anything else in the game, but it's a really good item, and you can use it in more than one spot if you really want to. I don't, but you can if you really want to, and play around with it. Now, instead of going directly to Dr. Wily's castle, this is like the other one where there's a castle before. Proto Man's castle is now on here. So you'll go through the first, well, of course, if you've already defeated the 8 robot masters and you haven't gotten beat yet, go back and find those letters and do so. Because you can go back through the stages and get them. Proto Man 1, stage 1. There's one stage in one of the Proto Man ones. I'm not going to go over all the stages. Them and the Dr. Wily stages are fairly difficult, but if you go through them enough times, there's no problems. There's one stage on the Dr. Wily one, or maybe on the Proto Man one, I'm not sure which one it is, where it has the white tigers. Again, use the strategy I told you earlier, one-shot kill them with the Mega Buster. There's another part on one of them where it's got gears in these gears that you're supposed to jump across. Don't do what I did and don't take the low road and try to make those jumps. Do not do that. You cannot make well, you can make them, but you're making it harder on yourself. The best thing I found to do is pull out the Rush Jet on one of those, on one of those higher ones. And use one of those higher ones and use the Rush Jet just to go across. And then once you're on the top level, use the Rush Jet to go on across the rest of the stage. It makes it a whole lot easier. One of those stages somewhere in there has a water part where you're going to be jumping across the gears and stuff. And that is by far the most frustrating section of the game. There's no tips or tricks I can really give you. Practice your jumps. Make sure you can jump. Make sure you can jump in the water. That's about all I can tell you, because there's not much room for error. There's enemies down in there. Some of them are on the gears. Some of them are on the platforms onto the side. It's not a long section, but it's tough. It's really tough. And you can't use the Rush Marine. That's why I said the Rush Marine would come in real handy. But I think that's why they didn't put it in there, is because they wanted to challenge you a little bit. It may take you a couple tries to get through there again. If it's something that you can use save states on, do that. Use the save states so that you can figure out, how much of a button press do I need? How much do I need this? The enemy's here, the enemy's there. Some trial and error. Like I said, there's no tips or tricks I can give you on that. At the end of the Proto Man stage, the first one, you'll face a robot called Darkman. Darkman has 4 different forms. He's the boss of all 4 Proto Man stages. He's not easy on any of them. The first one, he's a tank. You'll have to use Water Wave. Each time you hit this guy, he gets faster. So you want to shoot as soon as you get in there, as soon as you can, because he'll try to come across the room. He'll be shooting and he'll be in tank form. Not too bad. As you can jump over him, he just tries to run into you and shoot you with shots. It's not too bad. Yeah, when he gets faster, it gets a little bit worse, but it's not awful. Now, in the second stage, he'll have a shield that goes around him. I'm not sure if the shield deflects what he's weak against or not. I'm not sure, but just try to fire it at an open spot there whenever he's running. He runs and this shield thing just crosses back and forth. There's 2 of them. There's 2 like sticks and they cross back and forth. You'll use the crystal eye on him in this case, and you'll hit him with that. And of course, like I said, like the last time, he'll get faster. Now, on the third one, this is the one where it starts to get to be a pain in the butt. You face him again. This time it's the gyro attack. This time he's got a gun that he shoots out this thing. It's got 3 little circles. Any of them hit you, they freeze you. And more than likely, he's going to hit you. He's either going to shoot you, or he's going to ram straight into you. One of those 2 things happen. He's either going to shoot you. He's got a bazooka. He's either going to shoot you with the bazooka, or he's going to hit you. You better hope he hits you with the bazooka, because if he hits you with the bazooka, it won't do as much damage as if he crashes into you. You need to use the the gyro attack on him and try to kind of put him away kind of quick so that he doesn't do too much damage. You should be collecting E-tanks. You'll need them against some of these last bosses. You'll need them against, but you won't need like a whole lot. And also make sure you keep your weapon energy up as much as you can, and kind of watch the walkthrough or listen to me, so that you know what weapons to use, so that you know to keep them charged up. There's nothing like trying to go through a stage and you don't have enough weapon energy to face the boss, and you end up either having to use a bunch of E-tanks, or you end up and screwing yourself up that way, or you end up having to die so that the stage starts over so that you have full power. That you don't want to do that, because if you then went through the whole entire stage and then you find out you don't have it, that's a pain in the butt to go back through the stages. So now on the last version of this guy, he's got the last 3 versions, plus he's bigger. So what I suggest you do in this part, bring Beat down. Let Beat keep crashing into him. You just worry about staying away from him and dodging bullets and stuff, and just let Beat wear him out, and Beat will kill him after a couple minutes. That's the best thing to do, because Beat will kill him. And just make sure you watch your health, and make sure you watch where he's going, and just don't worry really too much about the life bar. Just worry about taking him. Just worry about dodging him. It's a whole lot easier to do it that way. Now, Wily 1, there's a boss at the end of this one. He's got a different name, but I just call it a blue tower. It's got 2 circular discs on the bottom, and it's got a circly head thing at the top. This thing's a pain in the butt. It is a huge pain in the butt boss to fight. You have to shoot at the bottom section, jump on it after it comes across the room, because whenever you shoot at it, it'll come across the room. Then you have to shoot at the second section so that it comes out so that you can jump on it. Then you have to switch, you have to go into your item menu, switch to the crystal eye, and jump and fire it at his head. If his eyes are closed, it bounces off. And you have to hit him square in the head too, because if you hit him just even underneath, it'll bounce off. So you have to hit him. The only attack he's got, he throws these 2 little twirly can looking things, and they come down. And they come down about either where you are or where you were at when he fired them. So kind of take that into consideration. That can be something that you can, maybe some of you can dodge and do it that way. Like I said, he's pretty frustrating. Then you'll face this one I'm calling Gate Face. It's not Gate Face. It's a big round circle. It's got a little machine in the middle of it. 2 sides open up, and there's 2 platforms. You need to jump on those platforms while he's going around trying to shoot you, and jump up. And when those are open, jump up and shoot a gyro attack in there. He doesn't take very much damage to do it, to kill him, and it doesn't take very long. It's just trying to dodge the shots and trying to wait until the gates open to put those in there. So now Wily 3, you'll fight the bosses again, the Robot Masters, but you know what to use on them. By the way, use the Star Crash on Gravity Man if you don't want to kill him with your regular weapon. That's what he's weak against. Meanwhile, you'll face I call it the Wily Smasher. It's not really the Wily Smasher. I don't know what it's called. He's in a UFO that is pretty good size around the room. He'll stay over top of you. I'm not sure if he lands on you, if it's a one-hit kill or if it just does damage. There's spikes in the center of the room too. Use your arm cannon. Run around the room. Try to juke him out. Go one way and then go the other way. After a couple minutes of it staying up at the top of the screen, it'll come down and then it'll go back up. When it comes down, if you need to jump over the middle part, jump over the middle part one way or the other. If you need to slide one way or the other, slide one way or the other. Do what you need to do to not be where he's coming down. That's the best I can tell you on that one. And just have the arm cannon charged up and just shoot him when he comes down. When he comes down and when he's almost at the bottom, that's when you can jump and just let a shot go and hit him. In my opinion, this is not a hard boss, but for certain individuals, this can be a difficult and aggravating boss fight. It really can. Now, Wily 4 is the last stage, and you'll have 2 bosses to fight here, as you normally do with Wily. The first one, I'm going to call it the Wily Skull. Is some kind of skull. It's a skull thing, and it attacks by shooting, I think it's balls of energy out the bottom. And also it has it's got a skull head, and the skull head mouth can suck you in towards it, which is, I don't know if it's really anything. This is where you want to use the super arrow. You jump up and you just start flinging those as many as you can into that mouth of that skull, and it'll take him down within just a matter of seconds. Once you're done there, he's going to be in a capsule, and he'll appear somewhere in the room at random, and then he'll shoot down a thing that breaks apart and 2 balls that go across the floor to hit you, 2 energy strikes that go across, and then he'll have some other ones that there's 4 of them that go out and just kind of go in a circle. This is all he does. This is all he does. You can kill him with your arm cannon or with most any weapon. The best thing to do, though, is to use beat. This is where I tell you, beat comes in very handy. Beat can hit him wherever he's at. You don't have to worry. Beat can hit him wherever he's at. Beat half of the time will even, if you see Beat circling around the area where he was, Beat will circle around in the area, and then Beat will know where he's going the next time, and he'll circle around that area, and as soon as Wily appears, Beat will whack him one good one. So the best thing to do, like I said, is like you did with Darkman, just use Beat, and you just worry about dodging stuff, and Beat will hit him. Beat will take care of him, so that you don't have to. And that helps tremendously on that fight, because you never know where he's going to be, and you only have maybe a couple of seconds to take a shot, and he may be way up on the top of the screen. You may have to switch weapons. By the time you get a weapon switched and you shoot at him, he ain't there. So Beat is very useful to help here. That's why I was telling you, you should get Beat. Get the bird. Beat also makes an appearance on number 6. I don't know if it's really the same. I don't know if he's as useful in number 6 as he is in number 5. Number 6 will be the next one that we go on when we do another one of these. As far as number 5 goes, I used to not really care for this one too much. Over the years, it's gotten better. It's probably my 3rd favorite out of the original 6. Well, my 3rd or 4th favorite. It and number 6 are kind of interchangeable. My favorite of the Mega Man of the original 6 trilogy is number 3. Well, I would think number 6 would maybe be my... Well, no, number 3 is my favorite. Number 2 is my second favorite. And then number 6 and number 5 kind of intertwine. And then number 4 and then number 1. I really don't like number 1 too well. And number 4 could have been a lot better, but they kind of screwed some stuff up on it, and I don't like it very well. Number 5, like I said, is one of the ones I know I can go straight through and kill them with my arm cannon. The bosses are very well designed. The levels are very well designed. They're not long. Some of the Wily stages and the Proto Man stages are a little bit long, but most of the stages are not very long. I think they blend the difficulty mixture in them good enough. The Robot Masters they're challenging, but they're not entirely difficult. None of them really are. Unlike number 2, 3, and 4, where you had Robot Master that was particularly difficult. Number 2 is Quick Man. Number 3 is Shadow Man, and number 4 is just really Dive Man. And really, there's some other ones that are pretty difficult on number 4. Number 5 really toned down the difficulty quite a bit, and it's enjoyable to play. Number 5 is pretty enjoyable to play. It's definitely a lot different from number 4. It's not as hard. I like the music in it. The story's really good. The story in it's good. Of course, Wily's your main boss again. Even the bosses in the Wily stages aren't really, really bad. Or even in the Proto Man stages, even those Dark Man robots aren't awful. So I pretty much like the game. I would say for people to play it once, you'll probably play it more than once. A lot of people really like this one. It's really good. Like I said, a lot of people were turned off by number 4 when it came out because it was marginally difficult. So a lot of people didn't play number 5, or maybe they played number 5, but like me, kind of thought it was a tad bit difficult, but not overly difficult. And then number 6 is a lot, and number 6 is probably the easiest out of the original 6. To me, it's the easiest. To somebody else, it may not be the easiest, but number 6 is the easiest to me. And I think a lot of people, once they got up to number 6, I don't think a whole lot of people played number 6, and that's really a shame, because number 6 is pretty good. We'll show that in the review. The next one that we do, we'll show that in the review. That number 6 is pretty good. I think it's pretty good. They changed some stuff on it, which I'll go over in the review. They changed some things. And of course you have the different bosses and stuff, but it's not, to me, it's not a bad game. To me, it's an actually good game, and like I said, it's one of those that we'll see what we're going to do. Then we'll see what we'll talk about on number 6. We'll do that next time. Sometime this week, I may not get to a review of it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to review it right off the bat. Me and Jim are thinking of doing co-op Doom on the Xbox, co-op Doom 1 and co-op Doom 2. We're not going to be going through and finding everything. We're just going to be going through the game. I will say, and I will reiterate whenever we do this, that viewer discretion is advised on this game. Even though you see more gore and everything than most other times than what's on TV and stuff, but the game is very, very violent. The game is very gory. It is not advised for a child to watch it. You know, it's probably okay for teenagers because they're probably already playing stuff that's like Grand Theft Auto and things like that. But there is viewer discretion is advised on those 2 playthroughs of those 2 games because they are very violent. It is very graphic, and so viewer discretion is advised on those 2. I may do the reaction videos following those, but I don't know. I don't know when we're going to do those, and I don't know if I can get a reaction video out fast enough to do those, fast enough to reaction with it. So that's why I'm telling you ahead of time, viewer discretion is advised on those 2 streams. So until next time, like I said, we'll talk about Mega Man 6 on the next post. Jim will put this one up with Mega Man 5 on the end of it, like he's been doing. He's been doing a great job on the video so far, putting the review with the game that it's supposed to go with. He's been doing really good on that, and then just filling in the rest of the time with background music that he's putting on there. I hope you guys are enjoying that. If you guys are watching these and enjoying these videos, or even if you're watching these and then watching the rest of the video and the rest of the playthrough, give a shout out to Jim. Give him a big thumbs up, because I mean, on some of these posts like this and stuff like that, I just take them and share them, and then I just also take them and put them on YouTube. He does this stuff where he just goes in and he works with it and releases the video. And I know it takes time. I know it takes time out of his day to do these things. I know he doesn't mind to do them. But guys, give him some credit for this stuff. I mean, because he does a heck of a job on this stuff. And he does it, and he puts up with it, and does things like that. And just give him some credit for this stuff. Hit the like button and things like that, and tell other people about these videos and stuff. I mean, because he puts in so much work on these things, and he just he needs to be given credit too. It's not just me. It's him, and also I have a and this is where I'm gonna tell you people. I have a girlfriend that I have that I take time away from her to do these videos. She allows me the time away from her and to do the playthroughs, to do these videos. And like I said, give her some credit too. She's taking time that I could be over there with her, and she's pressing, she's sitting there and she tells me, go ahead if you're going to, if you want to stream, go ahead and do this, go ahead and do that. And that takes a lot, for another person. Like I said, it's not just me working on these things. It's Jim and it's her. And, it's other people, it takes people to watch it and things like that. And I just want to thank everybody that's tuning in to watch these videos. And I want to thank those two for the time and the dealing with, me putting up these videos and making these videos. It's because of you people, and it's because of those two that I am able to do these videos, and I am able to bring you these videos. So just take a moment and just thank those two people, and some of the rest of you for making these things possible. It's everybody involved making the process possible. So, and I just want to thank everybody for that. And until next time, we'll see you then. We'll talk about more of them, and we'll see what we review over next time. Should be Mega Man 6, but there may be some playthroughs and stuff before that. And we'll try to review those as we get them out.